Yo, what is up, guys? It's Cone back here again today with another video. This video, you know what the drill is. You see it in the title, you see it in the thumbnail, you see it on your screen right here. We're doing another NBA hot takes video. I'm reacting to your hot takes. Once again, I tweeted out that we were doing this again. Drop me your hot takes for me to react to in a YouTube video. This is April 18th, which was yesterday as I'm recording this and you are seeing this video. So these are all pretty recent. Yeah, not much has changed in the NBA since this was done. So these hot takes are all fresh out of y'all's draft, so we'll see what you guys had to say. As usual, I'm going to react to them, give my thoughts on a few of them. I'll talk about most of them, but y'all left a lot of comments. I think there's like upwards of 100 here, so I definitely won't get to all of them, so I apologize if I do not get to yours. We'll probably do this for around 12-15 minutes or so, and then we'll move on with our day. So appreciate you guys dropping all these comments. Leave a like, leave a subscribe if you like content like this. Follow me on Twitter. I post one of these about once a week, and we do these videos about once a week, one every 2 weeks or so, depending on just how many video ideas I have. So if you want to be featured in one of these, go ahead and do that. So we're going to start off. Our first one is that the Boston Celtics will make the Eastern Conference Finals. The Boston Celtics have been playing very, very well recently. Tatum is playing really well. Kemba Walker has stepped that up. And if you guys remember, I dropped that video about how the Celtics had kind of found a winning formula about a week, 2 weeks ago. And it looks like it's true. It looks like I was right about that, which is cool to see. You know, not always right about everything, but it's cool to see that I was right about that. The Celtics have been really good. Can they make the Eastern Conference Finals? I don't know. I don't know if they have the depth to stop some of these teams, because they have a guy like Fournier who's really good off their bench. They have Jabari Parker, who has only played one game, but given in that one game, he was pretty good. But outside of that, they don't have a lot of super reliable bench guys. Obviously, Tristan Thompson has been there and won a championship before, so he can kind of be relied on, but I just don't think they have enough bench depth right now to make that run. They have one of the most talented starting lineups in the NBA. I think it's just that lack of bench depth that's going to come back to hurt them. Can they make the second round? Absolutely, 100%. Will they make the Eastern Conference Finals? I think this year they're just a little too far behind Philly, Brooklyn, and Milwaukee to do that. Maybe they could take out Milwaukee, but I don't think that they're going to have the ability to, being probably the 4 seed at best, and that would end up with a matchup in the second round between them and the Sixers or them and the Brooklyn Nets, depending on who gets that one spot, and I just don't think they quite have it right now. So I'm going to disagree with this one for now. It is possible, but I don't see it happening. Cat is greater than Embiid? No, I don't see an argument for that. The Pistons will make the playoffs next year with a top 5 pick and little to no injuries. Maybe, although I think the Bulls are going to make another step forward. The Pacers are going to be really good. I think the Pistons might need a little bit more. They'll need. It depends on their development of their other guys. If they get a top 5 pick, that definitely comes a long way. But I think it's going to depend on the development of those other guys to make the playoffs. Making the playoff jump is tough when you're a team that's been kind of towards the bottom. Yeah, I don't know, because it's not like they're super injured right now at the moment. They're just not very good. So I don't know. I don't know if the playoffs are in question, but they will be better. The Hornets, when healthy, are going to be real contenders if they upgrade their big men. Not yet. They're going to need more development from Terry Rozier. Needs to keep playing at the level he's been playing. Gordon Hayward needs to keep up his production, obviously, and LaMelo Ball needs to keep developing the way he has. Miles Bridges and PJ Washington have shown a lot of promise. They're still developing players. So maybe next year if they develop, but that would mean upgrading their big men. Like, are you talking like if they add like a Jokic or like a Cat or an Embiid, maybe, but that's not something they're going to do. I think they need a star center to add to this team to make them real contenders. They're just not quite there yet. They're pretty good, but they're just not quite at that level yet. Russell Westbrook is still a top 5 point guard. I'll go yes. I don't want to list the point guards off the top of my head, but I don't see there being 5 guys who are better than him right now, at least not the way he's been playing recently. The Sixers will beat the Nets in 6 and make it to the finals. Definitely possible. The Thunder are a playoff lock with just Shea, Dort, and Bazley. No, I don't think that's true. I mean, we saw that this season. We might have made the play-in game if we kept everyone playing at the level of availability that they were. If we kept Al Horford in the lineup, Mike Muscala kept George Hill, maybe we have a shot at the play-in tournament, but I don't think with just these three guys we're a playoff lock. The West is really tough. There's a lot of good teams. Like the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, who's been one of, if not the best player in the NBA this season. They're not even a guarantee to make the playoffs, so it's really tough out there in the West. If we add like 2 top 5 picks, maybe if we had 1 top 5 pick, maybe we could make that playoff jump. But it takes a lot. Like I mentioned with the Pistons, it takes a lot to make that playoff jump. The Clippers have the best chance of beating the Nets. Best chance. Maybe. I mean, the Clippers are really good. The best chance of beating the Nets. I think that I still want to go with the Lakers, I think, on that one, just because of the depth that they have. But I mean, I think the Clippers are right there. I think it's between the Clippers, Lakers, and Sixers. I think those are the teams best equipped to try and take down the Brooklyn Nets. You could even throw in a Milwaukee in there too if you wanted to, but I think those are the best equipped teams. Yeah, I don't know if I'd say best chance, but they have a good shot. This is Portland's last chance before they blow it up. And then followed by RJ Barrett will have the best career in his draft class. I'm going to say no on that. Zion is there. The way Zion's been playing, he's already a top 15 player, so I don't know if RJ is going to pass him. Zion is just too good. He could have the second best, third best, depending on how John Morant goes as well, but best is that's pretty bold to say. At least the way that they've played this point in this career, although, like I said, this is hot takes for a reason. This is Portland's last chance before they blow it up. I don't know if this is their last chance. I think their window for contention is kind of closed at this point. They have to make more additions, and I just don't know if they can do that with the roster that they currently have. I think this Portland team is kind of doomed to blow up sooner rather than later at this point. I don't even know if replacing Terry Stotts, who has not been a good coach this season, fixes them. They have too many holes, especially defensively. Melo, who's a productive role player for them, is getting older. Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum are not getting any younger, given they still have probably a bunch of productive seasons ahead of them, but they're not getting any younger. Yeah, I don't know where this Portland team goes from here. I don't know if there are any moves I can picture them making that are going to lead them to a championship. I don't know. I think Portland is closer to blowing it up than a lot of people realize. If Joel Embiid plays at least 90% of the rest of the games in the season, he has just as good of a chance of MVP as Jokic. It depends where the Nuggets finish. If the Sixers finish as the 1 seed and the Nuggets fall to like the 6th, then yeah, absolutely. It's going to depend on where the Nuggets end up in the standings. Because I've said this before in a previous video. I think Jokic has the better statistical argument. It's up to Embiid to maintain that statistical gap or even close it a little bit, as well as maintaining that maintaining that regular season success for him to try and catch Jokic in the MVP race. I think it's going to be a really fun finish. Utah Jazz will make the finals. I don't think that's a hot take. They've been the best team in the league this season, according to record. I don't think that's too much of a hot take. I could see it happening. Russ is the most overhated player in the league. I don't want to say most because I don't have a gauge of every NBA fan. I only follow like 12,000 people, so I don't have a gauge of everyone, but he definitely does get way too much unwarranted hate. CP3 is the best player in the Suns and should be an MVP. It's definitely an argument between him and Devin Booker. Statistically, it's been Devin Booker definitely this season. But if you want to talk about impact, you could talk about Chris Paul, the way that he just brings winning cultures wherever he goes. Should be an MVP. Does this mean this season's MVP? I just don't think you can give it to him. The Suns have been really, really good, but he just doesn't have the stats. And there's an argument that he isn't even the best player on his team. Like we said, Devin Booker could be the best player on his team. So I don't think he's quite there in the MVP race, although you know I love Chris Paul if you watch this channel at all. But yeah. Not really a hot take, but I'm a Warrior fan who does not hate LeBron. I don't understand hating players. Like, I get not being a huge fan of a player, being upset that a player like eliminated your team or you had a rivalry with them and not being the biggest fan of them. But like hating players, I don't know. That's just not something I'm like susceptible to. I don't really hate any players in the league, so I don't really understand that. For example, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, who destroyed the Thunder in that 2016 Western Conference Finals. I could hate them because of that. I could hate them because they teamed up with Kevin Durant, but I don't, because they're really fun players to watch, and I think it's a waste of time to hate on players. Damian Lillard is an overrated playoff and clutch performer. It depends where you rate him. I don't love the term overrated because it entirely depends on your perspective individually. It's hard to gauge everyone's collective perspective, so I don't really want to make a comment on that. Norman Powell is better than Kemba Walker. I'm going to say no, because Kemba Walker definitely has a higher ceiling if he's playing healthy and he's being consistent at this point. Norman Powell's had some really good games, but I don't want to say he's better than Kemba Walker at this point. Let's see. DeJounte Murray is a future top 3 point guard in the league. I don't think so. Just because of how much point guard talent there is in the league. If you count Luka Doncic as a point guard, that's one. We could talk about guys like SGA as well, a guy that I'm going to be biased towards. If you count him as a point guard, depending on whether he plays point guard or shooting guard for a future, that could be another guy. You have Trae Young as well, Ja Morant, and I'm missing a bunch of other guys I know that I'm not even going to get into. But De'Aaron Fox as well, Jamal Murray when he comes back from his injury. There's just a lot of point guard talent in the league. I think it's tough for him to be top 3 point guard in the league. I do think he's gonna be really, really good, and I could even see DeJounte Murray playing like a 2 or a 3 as well. Maybe he's more of like a combo guard, and then you could say he's like a top 3 combo guard in the league. I don't know. I'm not sure what DeJounte Murray's future holds, but he's really, really good. With the physical gifts he has, Poku's ceiling is an all-NBA point forward. He can block shots, he can also pass and handle the ball, while being a fairly effective scorer, though inconsistent right now. Give him time to develop, that's his ceiling to me, he's only 19. I'm not going to disagree with you. I think, now keep in mind, I'm not saying this is what he's going to become, but Poku's ceiling is all NBA. That is true. I think that's where he's at. If you watch him play, he shows so many flashes of greatness, and I don't think you can deny that he has an incredible ceiling. Whether he reaches that or not is a completely different argument that we won't even get into in this video. But in terms of his ceiling, I think Poku could be an all-NBA type guy. Shea will be a 25 point per game scorer and an all-star caliber player next season. Definitely could see it. I think that's true. Shea could be the first option on a championship team, something I also agree with at this point, although I'm biased. Kyle Lowry should be all-NBA. No, not this season. Wolves are a play-in team next year. Yeah, I think it depends where their pick ends up. If they end up getting one of those top 3 picks, top 5 picks, yeah, I could see the Wolves making the play-in tournament. They've shown a lot of potential under Chris Finch. Anthony Edwards is progressing pretty quickly. You have Karl-Anthony Towns, obviously. D'Angelo Russell, since coming back from injury, has shown a lot of flashes of his old self. Add in a top guy in this draft, and I think they could compete for a play-in spot. They do need to pick up some depth. They need to figure that out a little bit because, like I said, making that jump up in the standings is very difficult, especially in today's Western Conference. But I don't know. I think it's possible with them. I really like the way that they're headed. Russell Westbrook is a top 5 point guard of all time. I won't get into all-time stuff. I'm not super into like doing all-time stuff. Maybe I'll make an all-time list at some point, but I won't get into it right now. The Jazz are runaway title contenders. That is very bold, and the answer is no. LaMelo will still be the Rookie of the Year, and he'll come back for the play-in and help the Hornets cruise. Does that mean cruise through the play-in tournament? I hope LaMelo comes back. Whether he is still the Rookie of the Year, I guess it's up to personal preference. I'm not sure who I have as my Rookie of the Year at this point. It's just really balancing the amount of time that LaMelo's missed with how Anthony Edwards, who I think is the other guy you could give Rookie of the Year, has played this season. I don't know. It's cool to see that there is some competition here. I hope LaMelo comes back really soon, and I hope he continues to play up to the level that he was playing before injury, because I know there's a lot of hate because the media was always covering him, but he was one of the most entertaining players in the entire NBA when he was playing. The Nets will lose if they match up with the Heat. I do not think so. The Heat are good. The Nets are just way better. Not way better. They're better. Cat is the best center in the league. That is not true. The Suns are going to win the finals. I would love to see that. I hope the Suns win the finals. That'd be really cool to see Chris Paul and Devin Booker, 2 of my favorite players, win, and just to see Chris Paul's legacy get added onto by winning a ring, especially at this age. OKC would have been the most dominant team of the decade if they never traded James Harden. This is one I'll stop and talk about for a little bit. This might be one of my last ones because we're running out of time at like 13 minutes at this point. Most dominant team of the decade. It's tough. Because it changes everything. Like if OKC keeps Harden, it changes the entire landscape of the league. I think you definitely have to say they are a dominant team. Whether it's the most dominant team of the decade is depending on how the Warriors come about and how LeBron James might change his direction, because like I said, this changes everything in the league. It's not like just Harden doesn't go to the Rockets and stays on the Thunder. It changes probably most of the decisions in the league. Maybe LeBron James makes a different decision in terms of staying in Miami long term as opposed to going to Cleveland. Who knows? And also there's the question of, would James Harden ever have become the player that he became today if he didn't get his opportunities? Something I say a lot is that I think young players really benefit from getting opportunities. We're watching right now Lou Dort. I'm going to bring up the Thunder in this OKC segment. Lou Dort right now is averaging 33 points per game over the last 3 games, and he looks like he's the most confident and best he's ever been in terms of his offensive production. And that is because he's getting those opportunities. James Harden got a ton of opportunities and opportunity to develop. I'm not saying James Harden wouldn't have become an all-star, wouldn't have become an all-NBA type guy, but would he have become the all-time like dominant scoring threat if he wasn't traded to Houston? I don't know. I think he doesn't quite become the player he is today. I do think OKC wins a couple rings, maybe more than 2, maybe like 3 rings. So I think probably the answer to this is yes, but I don't like to dwell on it too much because, you know, it happened, and I don't like to think about it too much. I prefer to look forward to the future. MPJ is a future All-NBA player. He's shown that potential. Steph isn't the best point guard of all time. Yeah, I think I still have Magic Johnson above him. Like I said, I'm not super into all-time lists, but if I had to pick right now, I'm picking Magic Johnson. The Celtics need to blow it up and start over, making everyone available. I don't think they need to do that right now. And it's tough making everyone available unless they're named Jalen or Jason. I don't think you can really do that. Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum are too good to let you be bad. Even if they traded off most of their guys for like whatever, those two guys are going to get you probably to the play-in tournament by themselves. They're really, really good players. So I don't think you can really do a rebuild unless you trade one of, if not both of those guys. The Wizards could pull off an upset. Does this mean in a series? I don't think they're beating the Sixers or the Nets in a series. That's assuming they get a 7 or 8 seed. I don't even think it's possible for them to make it up past 7 or 8 through the play-in tournament. So I don't think that's going to happen. No team in the West has taken the Lakers past 6 games. We'll have to see how they're healthy. The Grizzlies go to the finals in 2015 if Tony Allen doesn't get hurt. I'm going to say no to that. It would have made things more interesting, but I'm going to say no to that. The Bulls should have never traded for Vucevic. Denzel Valentine needs to be released, and Otto Porter needs to be traded. Otto Porter was traded. I'm confused. Does this mean traded from the Magic? The Bulls should have never... But this is all about the Bulls. Otto Porter Jr. is gone. He's on the Magic now. He did get traded, so they did one of your things. Never trade for Vucevic. I think it's way too early to say that. We still don't know if they're going to make the play-in tournament or not. They're right there to make the play-in tournament. They could even end up making the playoffs this season because if you make the tournament, all you got to do is win 1 or 2 games to make it in there. I think that the Bulls, to make the Vucevic trade worth it, need to commit to more winning moves in the offseason. I think that's what's ultimately going to make or break the Vucevic trade. They can't stand pat. You got to go out and get more alongside Vucevic, alongside Levine. Hopefully Kobe White develops. I think Lauri Markkanen is gone off of this team, and you just got to make win-down moves. And I think that's ultimately the way that the Bulls are going to go. KD is the greatest Thunder of all time. It's Russell Westbrook, and if you think differently, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Kevin Durant is the best Thunder player of all time. The greatest Thunder player of all time is Russell Westbrook, and it's not really an argument. In my opinion, the NBA games, we'll only do like a couple more, should be commentated by 2 extremely biased commentators who bicker about everything. Most commentators fail at their jobs of actually teaching the game anyways, so that would be entertaining. I don't think commentators' job is to teach the game. I think they're supposed to make the game entertaining, which is kind of what they do. I think it's more of the job of analysts to kind of teach the game. I mean, commentators can talk about interesting aspects of the game and talk about what may, like for example, commentators can talk about like a set that a team runs. If a team runs a set for a certain player, they run a play, they run certain like actions for one player, then they could talk about that and they could talk about how that team uses that. But I don't think it's their job to like teach us what a free throw is and a 3-point shot is and stuff like that. So I don't necessarily think it's their job to teach us the game. Although I do think this is something I would love to see on like you know how like there's like those non like UFC like mixed martial arts type leagues where they have guys like Snoop Dogg coming and commentate and stuff like that. I would love to see something like that where 2 just extremely biased people come in and just bicker about everything. That's something I'd like to see, but not on like the main NBA broadcasts. We'll do 2 more. Oh, I like this one. Oh, shout out Sean. Closed by Graham. Discount code in the description below. Shout Sean. OKC will win the chip in 2023. I think that's a little early. I think we could do it in like 2024, 2025, 2023 maybe, but that would require us to land 2 top 5 picks this season. And they have to not only land, but they have to develop very fast because that's 2 years away. So I think that might be a little bit early, but you know, I liked it for a reason. I'd love to see it. And finally, we'll end with the Bucks knock out a East heavyweight in the semis, so I'm guessing that means Brooklyn or Philly. The Bucks certainly have the capability to do it. They have Giannis, who is one of the best players in the league, so he definitely has that capability. Jrue Holiday is really key because he can help lock up some of those better offensive players on the Brooklyn Nets, especially. I think that's where he's going to come in handy. I don't know. I think the Bucks might even be better equipped to knock out the. They might be better equipped to knock out the Nets than the Sixers. I don't know. I just don't know if the Bucks are stopping Joel Embiid. I know they have Giannis, but that's not really Giannis's game necessarily. I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think 2 of the 3 teams at the top do make the conference finals. I don't think there's any team that's going to knock out one of those 3 teams or knock out 2 of those 3 teams before the conference finals. The Bucks are going to be interesting. I think that's why it's important to try and get that 1 seed in the East right now. I know the Nets aren't trying super hard, but ultimately I think if the Sixers are able to avoid the Bucks and Nets until the conference finals, that's huge for them. I think that's going to be a massive part as to why they could make a finals run, is their ability to make those two teams, Bucks and Nets, fight it out in that second round, and the winner, after coming out of a brutal series most likely, has to then come face a really tough Philly team. So I think that's their best bet to get to the finals. That's all the takes we're going to do. I ended up going for 20 minutes, which is longer than I meant to. Let me know if you like this longer style type of video. Let me know if you like these hot takes videos. Drop some of your hot takes in the comments below. If you made it to the end of this video, drop a Lou Dort in the comments below because it's Dort's birthday. Shout out Lou Dort, and I will see you guys later. Real one, say it back.